Hello friends, how are you? Hope you are doing well. We are talking today about the next questionnaires from in continuation with our ESG sustainability and climate change related the previous discussion. Now the question is, what is the sustainable construction? So sustainable construction means buildings with renewable, recyclable resources and material during the construction projects. We need to take care of reducing the waste and energy consumption wherever it is possible and protecting the natural environment around the site actually. And the practices of creating structures and using processes, those are environmentally responsible and resource efficient throughout a building's life cycle, from siting to design, construction, operation, maintenance, renovation and deconstruction as well. So even when we talk about the green building councils, there are certain factors or the criteria for sustainable construction which we need to include in our strategies, where we think about the innovations and designs, location and linkage, sustainable sites, water efficiency, energy and atmosphere, materials and resources, and indoor environmental quality. And finally we need to create the awareness and education for the people actually. Then we talk about what is the World Green Building Council. What is the World Green Building Council? This is a non-profit organization and global network of the national green building councils, which has member councils in over, I can say, 70 countries worldwide, which collectively have 49,000 members. And the World Green Building Council is a global network leading to the transformation of the built environment to make it healthier and the more sustainable. Its head office is in United States actually. Then we talk about how to manage the energy sustainability in these projects or the infrastructure or the real estate sector. So for that we need to follow certain steps, like 6 different steps are there. So starting from setting up a sustainability strategy, then we can say identify the most appropriate sustainable energy technologies, negotiating the self-generation contracts, trading green commodities and buying the green energy only, and monitor your carbon emissions. So going for GHG inventories or carbon emission inventories and monitor the progress related to the shifting from fossil fuel to the low carbon economy or going to the renewable energy sources actually. Then we talk about what is the meaning of sustainable transportation. Sustainable transportation refers to any means of transportation that is green and has low impact on the environment, and which is also about balancing out the current and future needs as well. So examples for sustainable transport, like we can say walking, cycling, transiting, carpooling, car sharing and green vehicles. So these are certain examples for sustainable transportation. There is one more term which we utilize in the sustainability and ESG domain. What it is called, that is sustainable city, or we say that green urbanism. So sustainable city or green urbanism meaning is an urban center which is engineered to improve its environmental impact through urban planning and management. So this city examines the city's ecosystem holistically, and it makes sure aspects of the city systems are working in the tandem of for its people and the environment actually. So the push to make more cities sustainable is a noble one, and which will enrich the lives of all people who inhabit them actually. So there are certain examples of sustainable city, like we can say sustainable city initiatives. We can talk about the water conservation, waste reduction, local food production. We can talk about the renewable energy production, green lead building designs, electrical vehicle charging stations, public transportation, city design for ride and walkability, and city policies that encourage the sustainability. So there are certain characteristics of sustainable city which I told you already, that certain examples further we can discuss about, like public transportation, vehicle charging stations, solar farms, green buildings, food productions, accessible public resources, water conservation and public green spaces and waste management. These are certain examples for the attributes or the characteristics of the sustainable city. Now, what is the meaning of sustainable urban development? As I said earlier, related to the sustainable construction also, and here also I utilize a similar type of concept. Sustainable urban development is a way forward for cities to mitigate the climate change, integrating the urban places designed to bring people, activities, buildings, public spaces together, and with easy walking and cycling connections between them. So there are certain other examples related to the smart education, social responsibility, water management, sustainable energy, smart health, e-governance, sustainable transportation, waste management, green building design. So these are certain examples for the sustainable urban development. We talk about what is the meaning of sustainable infrastructure. So infrastructure referring to the designing, building, operating of these structural elements in a way that do not diminish the social, economic, ecological processes which required to maintain human equity, diversity, and the functionality of the natural resources. So from a base environmental perspective, sustainable infrastructure is supporting the climate resilience, which ultimately helps the economic resilience as well. So from a wider perspective, sustainable infrastructure investment can be a source of economic growth, community well-being, and the financial returns actually. So for this sustainability related initiatives, let us discuss some of the roles and responsibilities of our chief sustainability officers. So what they are doing with respect to the sustainable initiatives or sustainability initiatives implementation throughout the organizations. So let us see one by one. Chief sustainability officers are the highest level of executives in the organization who oversee their company's sustainability activities, who are responsible for an organizational objective setting and initiative setting related to the sustainability. And sustainability officer is responsible for providing an ongoing evaluation of the company's profits, personnel, ecological outlook, and other factors those are affecting the company's performance. He or she reports directly to the CEO or an executive committee actually. So there are certain other roles and responsibilities for the chief sustainability officer, like we can say developing a broad understanding of how business and industry works. So understanding the organizational context, including the resources, company uses, long-term business development objectives, existing environmental regulations, setting strategic priorities, goals, on objectives, coaching, mentoring, and development of the management team or executive committees with respect to the sustainability, interacting with internal and external stakeholders as other executives within the organization, government representatives, potential funders or investors, and member of media, and leading efforts to implement new programs, those contribute to the socially responsible operations. And finally, we can say reviewing and approving financial transactions or operating budgets as well. There are multiple other responsibilities related to the chief sustainability officer, which we can share here, just like an example, like drafting and implementing sustainable organizational policies, sustainability policies. Those are addressing the ESG related concerns, evaluating the efficiency of the sustainability programs, recommendations, and implementing the improvements as and when required, and preparing the reports, presentations, proposals, presenting proposals and recommendations to the executive committee, to the board of directors, and other key stakeholders also. And he's involved or she's involved in the developing or maintenance of appropriate documentation records, including budgets and other financials as well, and preparing documentation required for various ESG related initiatives, including proposals and grant applications as well. So these are certain responsibilities with respect to. There is one more terminology which we are utilizing in the ESG or sustainability domain. Now, what is the meaning of Who Cares Wins actually? Who Cares Wins is a conference organized in 2005, and it was first brought together institutional investors, asset managers, buy side and sell side analysts, global consultants, and the government bodies and regulators to examine the role of ESG value drivers in the asset management and the financial research actually. So what is the meaning of ESG integration as per this? We can say the ESG integration is the practice of incorporating ESG information into the investment decisions to help enhancing the risk adjusted returns, regardless of whether a strategy has a sustainable mandate or not. Okay, so these are certain examples related to the ESG integrations within the organization. Thank you very much, friends, for the time. and we'll meet in the next discussion. Thank you.